Well, everybody, welcome back. The big, beautiful bill was passed, so you know I have to have a little bit of a freak out about it. You're never going to tell me again that Americans care about anyone from the working class or lower class, or actually that they have any idea of what's actually being voted for. Because I have to tell myself, I have to believe for my own sanity and my own belief in this nation and my people, that my people, the American people, would not be okay with 16 million of the most vulnerable Americans in our country losing their health care. I have to believe that they wouldn't be okay with that. But in reality, they are. In reality, 40% of this country is applauding right now as this bill is passed because it's going to give them a small tax break while giving major tax breaks to the most wealthy Americans in this country. Allowing the use of private jets and yachts to be tax deductible while at the same time taking away food assistance from poor children, housing away from the elderly, and life-saving care from millions of Americans. They say that the cost of this bill, beyond monetary, will hit American lives more than anything, costing more than 55,000 lives per year. Simply because the people that need health care the most are no longer going to be able to have it. These are people who aren't able to go out and find a job where they can get health coverage and get health insurance. Simply they cannot work. But it's okay, I guess. It's okay because you're going to get a $10,000 tax deduction on your overtime. It's okay because tips aren't going to be taxed. Not that you declare those tips on your taxes anyway, do you? On this channel, I constantly try to find the good in my country and the good in my people. But when things like this pass, this is a milestone event that changes the trajectory of our nation and our people and what we're willing to stand behind. The sacrifices that we're willing to make to pursue the pipe dream of a great America that never existed. Because this feels just wrong. Nothing about this feels moral. If anything, it feels immoral. And the fact that so many people right now are online celebrating, I can't actually see the reasoning behind getting something that hurts so many people that you say you care about. They say that this is a bill that's meant to help the American people, but how can it help the American people if it only severs life-saving care, rental assistance, aid for food, funding for food banks? How is this good for the American people? It's only because they dangled a carrot in front of your face that said you're going to get a couple extra $1,000s a year, maybe, but the government will always find a way to take that money back. Mark my words, they will. Even if it's just the tariffs. Because you may be saving some money, but you should also understand that the cost increases of goods that are coming into this country because of tariffs over the next 4 years are just going to take that money right back away from you, or at least most of it. This isn't a good deal for the American people. It's a good deal for the wealthiest Americans and the wealthiest people who exist beyond nationality at this point. It's a good thing for the corporations. It's a good thing for the oligarchs. But is it a good thing for the American people? Absolutely not. Not if you look at these things in their totality and the impact that it's going to have on the vast majority of people who actually need the social benefits that were afforded to them until this point today. Shame on America, shame on our politicians, and shame on anybody who supported this bill. And one of the things that I feel is worst about this is coding the whole thing in some kind of righteous movement where you're saying that these actions, these bills, thank God for them. This is what God would want. This is us moving towards a more Christian world. There is nothing that is against Christian values more than taking care and support away from the weakest and most vulnerable. Nothing. In America right now, we live in an era of just relentless hypocrisy, and it's shown day by day on our media and on the social media. And I find myself having a very hard time in this moment looking on anyone who actually supported this bill with any kind of good faith. Because this bill itself was the embodiment of selfish action. It is a bill that says, I will take, but I refuse to give. But I guess in America today, we shouldn't be surprised because this is how our identity is. We are a culture of selfishness. We are a culture of self-worship. We are a culture of individualism, and we turned away from actual real community in real life where we see the impacts of our decisions on other people. It's easy for us to forget the impacts of things like what this is going to cause when we're just able to run back into our homes, look into our phone, and see what we want to see what the algorithm will give us. We run with open arms into distraction and deny the impacts of our choices on the world and the people around us. Shame on America for this. This is disgusting. And one of the greatest ironies to me is that there was such a focus on having this bill passed through before the 4th of July, before Independence Day. Take a look at the Declaration of Independence and tell me what you think the forefathers would think of our politics now. Tell me what they would think about our governing body and our bureaucracy now that does nothing but take from the people. They would flip this country upside down, and they would be ashamed of us for not doing so. And those affected by this are going to go beyond politics as well. Because you understand, in some of these districts, some of these Republican districts that voted for this, that want this to happen, you have 40, 50, 60% of the population that is actually using the social safety programs that we're just stripping away from them. And all off of a promise that they're going to walk into a future that's better than what it is now. But you've just signed the death warrant to your own safety and security. While at the same time, the most wealthy people in this country are about to profit massively. Pat yourself on the back for that. Pat yourself on the back for that kind of ignorance and lack of self-awareness for where you actually sit in this movement. Like I said, many patriots today are proud of being Americans, but the same patriots will find themselves on the breadlines next to anybody else. It doesn't matter how much you love this country or what you think this country is supposed to be when you sign it over to tyrants. Because as you're clipping coupons to go to the grocery store to buy food for your kids that you can barely afford, and you have no support to actually go to a food bank, and your WIC is about to get cut, your EBT is about to get cut, just understand that the billionaires that just got those tax breaks, they're on their way to get a new yacht. So I really hope you're proud of this bill, because a lot of people are going to be suffering. This is a great shame. Like and subscribe. Think about becoming a member. Thank you for stopping by. This is Large Man Abroad. Take care.
I am shaking with fury over what just happened. That's the most monstrous piece of legislation I've ever voted on in my time in Congress. What do those Republican senators go back and tell their constituents that they did? In the final speech, the only thing they mentioned was the money for the border. But what more can they do? They've already militarized the border. They've already created an immigration police state. They didn't mention anything about the fact this bill kicks 17 million people off of their health care. There are going to be thousands of people who die in this country because they lose their access to health care. There'll be tens of thousands of other lives that are needlessly destroyed. This is the biggest cut in child nutrition in the history of the country, I think. There are going to be moms and dads who literally watch their children go hungry. And why? Because they wanted to pad the pockets of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago friends. That's the only reason that they are throwing people off of health care, that they are rendering little children hungry so that some billionaire can get an extra $200,000 tax cut. It's just repulsive what they did. Now, it hasn't passed the House. There is a small but not insignificant chance that we can stop this bill before it gets to the president's desk. So let's get to work. Let's keep fighting. Let's not give up. Even if it does pass the House, then we have to tell the world what they did. We have to make sure that every single senator, every single congressman who voted for this from a swing state or a swing district never sets foot in this building again. This is a moral abomination, what they just did. And for what? For what? Just to make the lives of the rich and famous a little bit easier? So we'll do our work. I'm not giving up. I'm going to do everything I can to stop this bill from passing the House of Representatives. And it has real issues as it heads to the House of Representatives. But if it does become law, we're going to make sure these people pay politically for what they did.